have a bit of a disturbance making its way here into the Northland. We have this low pressure system along with this cold front, and it is creating a bit of instability, and we're already seeing some of the rain here this morning. We did have a severe thunderstorm warning. Luckily, that has cleared out. The winds are borderline severe, but we can see some pretty strong winds from this complex of storms making its way from Grand Rapids. It's going to be soon making its way to International Falls and the Iron Range. And this is going to continue to affect mostly northern Minnesota as we head around noon later into today. And then as we pull this forward into the afternoon, we might see a second round. This is a conditional threat. That means the conditions have to be generally pretty right now for us to see a second round storm this afternoon. But if we do, well, it's going to bring quite a bit of severe weather with it. In fact, we do have a slight risk for severe weather possible for the western half of the Northland associated with those afternoon storms. Now, as we pull forward into the overnight hours, look at this. We'll continue to see some storm action on this model showing it in northern Minnesota along that front. And that cold front is going to move south as we go through our Wednesday. So as we get into Wednesday afternoon and evening, it's going to mostly impacting northwest Wisconsin and the UP. And that's where we have the slight risk here for severe weather. Our marginal risk extending further north into Minnesota. And when it comes to the severe weather, because we're talking about the slight risk, well, it's mostly going to be driven by damaging winds, though we can see some hail, and you will notice, look at the flooding risk that we're going to have as well. And in fact, we do have a slight risk for excessive rainfall for much of the Northland today, as well as we go into tomorrow. So we're going to see some excessive rainfall, and just to show you how much excessive it is, well, they're showing up 2 to 3 inches down here as we go south into northwest Wisconsin along the I-35 corridor, with some places getting 4, even 5 inches of rain at times because we're going to see multiple rounds of storms. So we can see quite a bit of localized rain. And this is why we have flood watches in place, especially with the saturated soil. It doesn't take much rain to cause some flooding concerns. So we have flood watches here in the Northland. So be on the outlook for flooding possible, especially in your area if you're into northwest Wisconsin, where we expect some of the heavier rain to be at. And always keep an eye on that severe weather as well. And when it comes to the temperatures, well, even with the rain, we're going to be seeing those temperatures warm up thanks to some winds coming out of the south, bringing up that warm, moist air. We're going to be getting into the 80s as we get into northwest Wisconsin, south along the I-35 corridor. As we get into northern Minnesota and to the airhead, a little bit on the cooler side, 70s, probably sticking to the 70s for those highs. And we're going to be sticking around with the warmer temperatures going over the next week. Look at this. We're going to be showing 80s all the way into the weekend. And by the time we get to Sunday, it's probably going to be quite hot. The weekend's showing to be the hottest. Temperatures being in the 80s for almost all of us, if not all of us, getting into the low 90s potentially as well. And when it comes to the humidity, that's going to be sticking around as well. Look at this. We're mostly staying around humid, if not very humid, for most of the next few days. The only dip coming in on Thursday where we get more comfortable conditions. This is because we're going to have a high pressure system out of the north descend into the Northland, bringing the end of the week to be a bit on the drier side. So by the time we get late Thursday and Friday, it's going to be pretty dry outside, not with just humidity, but we're going to have more sunny skies as well. But with the high pressure coming in out of the north, it also does risk of bringing in some wildfire smoke in from Canada. So we just need to keep an eye on that. So looking at a 7-day forecast, be ready for that severe weather, not just today, but going into tomorrow as well, and maybe even on Thursday before we start to dry out. But we are going to see the humidity stick around as well as those warm temperatures.